Hello, everybody. Welcome to MindBody TV. This is Dr. Kim Duramo. I'm going to share today, well, it's about the power of your body, but it's about really the technology of your body. What's possible? How do we activate the body to do what it's here to do, which is to be a manifestation tool, to allow us to live to our highest expression, joy, vitality, connection, and to allow our life to be a reflection of that. So as many of you are aware, you know, I don't, as a doctor, I understand that the body is physical, but have really begun to work with it as vibrational. So we are physical in our body, but our body also has vibration. It is electromagnetic. And this is a truly unthinkable power that allows us to experience something much, much more than what's possible when we see the body as purely physical. And so when we tap into this and when we understand the technology of the body and what the body's really capable of doing, it not only allows us to heal ourselves and disease and imbalance or pathology, bacteria, cancer, virtually every disease known in medicine, it allows an activation in our lives. It allows an awakening in our relationships. It allows abundance to flow through opportunities, synchronicities, all the things the heart desires. And to do this, to activate this, it is essential that we get out of the mind and the limitations of what we believe, what we've been taught, what we've seen and interpreted as real, and begin to connect with our body beyond that. It's all it takes. And I'm also going to be specifically speaking to women because, our bodies are different. We have a direct connection with divinity in a very special way. Our sexuality is, and there's so many ways that we've been taught to suppress this, to suppress what we know, to suppress our wisdom, to suppress our sexuality, to suppress our sensuality, as if it has no innate value. And this is like one of the biggest lies that's creating a lot of anxiety, depression, and chronic illness for so many women. So stay tuned. And I'm also going to share an invitation for an upcoming event that I have for women called Alive Woman. It's a retreat event in May at drkimd.com/retreat. But let's get started on what this technology of the body is and how we activate it. So I love hearing where everyone is tuning in from. Hello to everyone who's here live, and hello to everyone who's listening to the podcast or watching this in the recording. I will always check back in the next few days to look at the comments, and you can tag me on your comments. Rita from Helsinki, Rachel from UK, Liam from New York. Oh, great. Kathy from Portland, Oregon. Winnipeg and Manitoba, Canada. Hello, Sadia. And hello, everybody who's joining. So here's what I want to share about this. And I'm actually I'm going to be sharing a webinar on February 4th. And if Jessica is here, will you share the link for that, because it's all ready to register, to go a lot deeper into this. What is the technology of the body specifically for women and how we activate this and how this heals disease. But let's look at this briefly today, just to kind of touch into this. So you have some tools to work with and some ways to go deeper, connecting with your body to allow manifestation in your life, not just cellularly and in your health, which is of course a major piece, but also beyond that in your relationships, your money, all the areas of your life that really contribute to your well-being. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a physician who has been practicing MindBody Medicine solely now. I left my practice in emergency medicine several years back. I had really seen how just being super intuitive how powerful the body is, and how a lot of what we're doing in medicine is really just scratching the surface of what's possible. Let me adjust that light. So I've worked with a lot of people with chronic illness, fibromyalgia, pain, a lot of autoimmune illness, cancer, anxiety, depression. And so my ability to read energy and feel what's really going on that's at the core of that, preventing that person from resolving the illness, has allowed me to tap into these deeper realms of what's possible in the body, what the power of the body really is to heal, which, yes, we've seen scientifically that the body can heal itself, that when there's harmony, there's the restoration of hormonal function, endocrine function, digestive function, immune function, and a rebalancing. And when we're in disharmony, it immediately throws that off. And the response, and this is kind of the important thing to understand, yes, it's physical. It'll initiate chemical reactions in the body that disturb your health, your immune system, your digestive system, your hormones, your brain. But what precedes that is the electromagnetic shift. That's the disturbance that then affects your thoughts. You know, you have like cyclic obsessive thoughts or fear thoughts, disturbs your body's neurologic system. So there's like so much pain, and then medically like, hey, there's nothing wrong. You shouldn't be in this much pain, but it will flare the body up. Immunologically, because of all this fear, the body's attacking itself. The immune system will begin to attack its own cells. That's the autoimmune. So what is going on? Where are we out of harmony with ourselves? Well, a lot of it comes from how we see the body as an object. I got to fix this object. I got to whip it into shape. I got to overcome my limitations. I've got to restrict. I've got to be better. I've got to improve. And so much of that is the exact thing that creates this electromagnetic template for these imbalances in the body. So how do we unlock that? So when we are willing to sense and feel what's happening in our body. Great. Thanks, Jess, for that link. Could we get a bit.ly link so that I can share it out loud too? Or just something a little nicer than that one. But the webinar, if you do want to register for the webinar, it's on the thread here. So what is the technology of our body? So our sensuality, our ability to sense and feel what we feel, even just touching your body, moving your body fluidly, breathing into your body, which some of you may have learned about and understood, activates something. It brings the body more alive. It's like the body is like, oh, I'm being seen. Here I am. And we begin to commune with our body. We begin to come into connection instead of this disconnection where the body is this thing and this object and we got to whip it into shape. When we can be in an alliance, and it's like a loving, harmonic alliance with our body, the body immediately responds. And this is what creates a really powerful electromagnetic shift. You don't have to micromanage your chemistry to get this whole mind-body connection. You don't have to try hard to think positive or only think positive thoughts. Oh no, I don't want to think about my illness. I will heal, I will heal. That's also suppressive. So this one piece, and this is why I created the Embracing Health program, all about embracing what is instead of fixing it, because that is what allows it to shift. When we can just commune with where we are, how we are, as we are, it ignites a really powerful electromagnetic shift that has been shown to heal disease. And so if you're battling with my thyroid, my Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, depression, just feel into all the ways that, like, underneath the physical experience, there is, what's underneath that. And I saw somebody asked, Grace says, it's my mother's 101st birthday, 2/4/2020. Great date. That's when we have the webinar. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wait. Hello, everybody else who's joining. So a lot of people ask me, and I saw it in the thread right here somewhere, How do we get underneath the energies? Like what's really going on with this Lyme disease or this fibromyalgia or this autoimmune syndrome or fill in the blank. And so what I always have people do, and this is a big thing in the embracing health work, what's underneath it? So if you feel, even if it's like back pain and you feel into that area of your body, when I had an autoimmune illness so many years back, I realized this. I realized that every time I sensed into it, it was a fear response, or it was, despair and hopelessness. All the ways I felt powerless. I felt powerless against this unknown thing. So there's nothing wrong with your body. Your body is actually showing you how to come back. And that pain I had really anchored me in my body, where I'm like running ahead, getting ahead, improving, going forward. But like, what about being here? All the ways I was resisting being here to go and get somewhere better, to go and make my life better, to go and make myself better. And that was the exact sort of inner abandonment that left me so susceptible to these imbalances and ultimately a pretty full-blown disease. So if I would feel under, what am I really feeling when I have this experience? And I had this amazing patient years back who was an MD psychiatrist who had really severe back pain and came to see me in my osteopathic practice. And he said, well, no, I don't have any emotions under this. There's nothing, I don't need all that psychological stuff. Like, let's just do the physical thing. But when we looked and he started to tune into it, it was immediately there. The fear would get worse and he would lose, lots of parts of his life and his relationships, his relationship with his wife, the embarrassment of, I don't want my colleagues to know I'm suffering with this. And what he didn't realize was those are energies. The energy of shame or inadequacy, the energy of fear, and they were affecting his body. And immediately his was like such an instant relief that the guy was like beside himself. Because when we neutralized those energies, he had no pain. And it was the first time in years that he had a day pain-free. So how do we get under there is to witness and to presence and to look. And so whether you use EFT tapping or just, I like to just put the hand on the heart, connect with the heart, breathe into the heart, feel what you feel. That practice will enhance your presence. It'll be like clear as day. You'll see it. You'll feel it. What happens when we do this is we're still in the mind. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And then some of the people I've worked with have even gone into, oh, there must be something wrong with me because I'm like this. Feel. But it's not true. It just takes a little adaptation for your brain and your nervous system to begin to consciously register the information that it's already registering subconsciously. You got to tune in and you got to practice so you can receive that. Liam says with chronic illness, people can get comfortable in their pain. How do you get over a fear of getting well? One of the things that happens with a lot of people who suffer chronic illness, chronic pain, it becomes a way of life. It becomes part of the identity. This is who I am. I have to be careful. I'm sensitive. I'm vulnerable. I'm weak. I can't eat, fill in the blank with 10 foods. A lot of people have lost the resilience to digest. But it becomes a definition of self. I am this, my fibromyalgia, my thyroid disease, my fill in the blank, my back pain. And that is when it gets really tricky because who am I without this pain? And the fear comes up because the ego senses really it's a dissolution. You're dissolving that ego, you're dissolving that identity. And so fear comes up. And if you can stay present to the fear and witness it like, oh yeah, this is the process. All you got to do is appreciate it. be able to see it. In that space of seeing it, you're no longer victim, you're no longer in it. You're observing it. And that is an instantaneous electromagnetic shift. It's not a matter of, so when I talk about instant healing, it is an instantaneous shift. Does your physical body register it and complete it instantly? Not always. Not always. So what that means is stay with it. Stay in that new alignment. Stay in that new space of presence and observing. The mind will go, oh, this isn't working. Oh, this is a waste of time. Oh, this person doesn't know what she's talking about. And you could do that. You could go through that journey a little bit until you come back. You ultimately will. Because pain is a great awakener. And when you're ready, you'll stop using, because the mind will use all kinds of excuses. This person let me down. This person did that to me. This should never have happened. And you don't even see yourself doing it. But you'll start to get onto it and call it out. So see if that, see if that kind of helps you go deeper with this practice. Wendy says, how much attention is wise to give our bodies when we're hypervigilant and when to pivot our focus to the other? Is there too much focusing on bodily sensations which are uncomfortable? Yes, because the focus is fear focus. The focus is powerlessness focus. The focus is, I got to get out of this, escape focus. That's what I was doing, which is what kept all these patterns in place. The focus itself is not the harmful thing, right? Because that's actually what we want, is to bring our loving attention. Where you bring your focus of attention is where your energy flows. But is your focus of attention fear, fixing, avoiding, attacking, improving, getting ahead? Or is your focus of attention, I embrace myself as I am. As I am. That is so scary, because the mind thinks it'll keep these like bad unwanted things. But nothing can be further from the truth, because our loving attention, the loving presence, is what allows it to heal. So you can't have too much focus when it's in a harmony of I embrace all of this. All this shit willingly, fully, without judgment. That is what transmutes all of the energy. All of it. Randy says, how do you find that balance between embracing what is exactly as it is and when to feel the essence of what you truly desire? It's a great question, because the mind sees these as separate. The thing you most deeply desire and like what your cells actually require is your loving presence, is you fully embracing you with your perceived faults, perceived limitations. Oops. Sorry about that. How did that happen? Oh, hold on. Network preferences. Let me get back online here. Come on. Sorry. Am I even still connected? Because oh boy. Come on. Sorry. Am I still here? Yes. Okay. That, and I didn't get this for a long time, or I got it in the mind, but I didn't really embody this. That me showing up for me is the greatest thing I could possibly receive. And me trying to avoid my fullness, my wholeness, my expression as it is, because your moment right now, imperfect as you may think it is the highest expression that's possible. And yes, it's residue from where you were residing before, It's not an instantaneous, as I come into alignment, the physical and the outer world is going to instantaneously shift. It will, and the more you practice this, it will more and more quickly. But there's a gap where you've practiced self-repression so long that your life is still playing out that pattern. So if you come into this new space, it's not either or. It's not either, okay, embrace this thing as I am, or, oh, I'm going to envision this higher thing that I really want. It's one thing, because the higher thing we really want is true union in our being. I am willing to be all of who I am without judgment or condition. And then we begin to see that who I am is extraordinary, is beautiful, is exquisite. When we get out of judgment, we can really see ourselves and our lives. We can really embrace this, the gift. And that's why people say the present is a gift. The past is history. I forget the little saying. The future is a mystery. The present, oh no. The today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Something like that. But it's true, we know on some level, like, the now is the access point. But what's happening in your now? Are you in pain? Are you rejecting? Are you judging? Because that will make it really uncomfortable. And then you think it really is wrong. And you really do need to escape and make it better. But your body can only live in the now. Your body can only live in the now. And so if you're avoiding the now and the discomfort of you to get something better, to read the next book, to try the next thing, your body feels it. And you lose the ability to access your power. You lose the ability to allow your body to manifest. Your body is electromagnetic. So, and I'll go a lot deeper into this in the webinar, but 3 functions of your body as pure energy. You are a receptor, receiving unthinkable amounts of information and awareness, which you could use as wisdom. You are a transmitter, sending a signal to everyone and everything around you that changes everything, down to the level of, the electromagnetics of substance, not just people. And you are a transmuter. Your consciousness can allow things to transmute into a higher frequency, into something higher expression. It's a really important thing to understand with the body. You don't need to be afraid of your body. So she's asking, how do you find that balance, such as the freedom or connection that I think having financial and love abundance would give me? So often I feel like all I do is sit with the emotions and the energies that feel like lack or despair and powerlessness as I struggle with knowing when to shift my awareness to how I want to feel. So if you sit with these energies, can you bring the presence of total willingness without making them wrong, without continuing to doubt them and judge them and fear what is, and embrace yourself and what you have created and who you are in this 10 seconds? Because you don't have to be afraid of it and think, oh, if I embrace it, then I won't have something better. It's not true. If you embrace it, you will have everything. So see if you play with that and witness when you're in the now moment. Are you still in judgment? When you're in the now moment, are you still in the focus of fear? Or are you truly? See, because if you're truly embracing it, there's no need for it to change and be anything else. That's kind of where the power is. Sarah says, in the moment when I feel fatigue in my legs, I can feel my mood drop. I get fearful, and then I don't know what to do. I just start to panic. Yeah, so let the fear come up, because your legs, the physical, whatever, imbalance is pointing you to that fear, is showing you where you've held these energies that aren't serving you, is showing you where you're still holding that. So what if you move into it instead of trying to move away from it? That's what allows it to dissolve. Liam says it's a paradox that the intense desire to get well is really a way of escaping and loving ourselves just as we are now. Yeah. It's such a paradox because the mind wants to complicate everything and really believes that you need to escape. So another way to do this is look at the belief. Like you feel whatever the symptom is, and then the panic. Who would I be without this belief? You know, the belief, I'll never get well. It's not okay. Something's really wrong and I'm in danger. Which is really not going to serve you, because even if there's something to address, coming from awareness is still going to benefit you versus coming from fear. You won't have the clarity, because I get asked that a lot too. Like, what if there really is something wrong and I'm just sitting around? And that's the other lie, is that as we embrace more, we are less willing to take action or have less awareness. No, we have more energy, more courage, more strength, more clarity of exactly what's required. Boom, I'll stop eating this thing, or boom, I'll go to this practitioner, or boom, I'll, maybe there's a medication, it's surgery. It could be anything. You don't need to judge, well, that's not natural, so my body's not healing itself. No, your awareness will lead you to whatever will benefit you the most, but it's up to you to receive it without judgment. Rachel says, I think it's a challenge to release everything you've been told, especially by doctors. It's taken me time to let go of everything I was previously told and trust this work to the point where I totally get it now, and my life has changed, and it's felt overwhelming at times. I was told I wouldn't get better. So it's hard when we give away our power for so long to buy out of it and become who we truly are meant to be. I can see how I could never heal on the physical level. I could have never healed on the physical level as my health issues were not created there. But it's a challenge getting to that point. It's been a challenge getting to this point. Well, it's not so much about trusting this work. This will just be toward a truth that you know in yourself. So it's like trusting what I know versus trusting what everyone's telling me. That's where the challenge comes. Like my whole life, I was trained to look outside myself or think that my body is purely just physical. And if I need to, fix it, I have to do a physical thing, or, and so it's not working anymore, that whole paradigm. But we've been taught that, and not just taught that like, one time relative to the body or the medical field. Every single day and every single moment is in some way a reflection of it. How we've lived. We've lived in separation, and everything strengthens that idea. I'm not whole and complete. My body's at risk, and potentially I'm powerless. That's what we're taught. So it gets drilled in so many levels, but there's a space within you where you already do know, I do have access to power. There is more possible than I've imagined. My body can allow a rearrangement and have a profound healing beyond what I've thought was possible. And so if you don't know that on some level, feel the resonance of it. So just relax your body, breathe, let your shoulders relax, and feel what you feel and sense when you embrace that idea. What if it could be effortless and swift? What if it could be true that just trusting myself could allow so much more? And then just feel the lightness in it. And it might bring some stuff up first, but you'll feel the lightness in it. What if it could be true that there's more possible than what I've been told? What if there's something I know and I can access this to invite way more into my life? So just be in the energy of that. Don't try to answer the question. And you'll sense this truth. And the reason you're sensing it is because it's at a frequency that's tangible to you. Maybe you don't see it and feel it and it's reflected in everything in your 3D physical world. But it's here on some level. And it's like a whisper before it becomes a full out expression. So just tune into that subtlety That's for me, it was years of knowing this deeper truth, but it was like, but everyone around me seems to think this limitation. Amy says, my autoimmune issues have significantly improved over the last year following your programs. I'm sitting with the fear around what was. I came down with the flu at the beginning of the month, and it took me almost 3 weeks to recover. As much as I tried to sit with what was happening and be present, my mind was absolutely terrified and literally thought I could die. I've felt stuck in a panic mode ever since, and I'm trying to avoid anything else that's happening, anything else like that happening to me again. And I'm feeling really confused. Okay, so it's not happening to you. That's where the next layer that's ready to release for you is this perspective. Life is happening to me. Well, if life's happening to me, I'm screwed. This could happen, that could happen. The best I can do is try to control, which is fear. So what if it's not happening? And if you didn't make the illness wrong? Just see if you can receive this. What if this rearrangement, because illness is it's a cellular rearrangement. You are not the same immune system when you complete that illness. You are not the same digestive system. You are not the same neurologic system. What if there's energy to move out and your body is physically helping you, assisting with that to a new alignment, like a beneficial alignment? What if you could receive this? And usually when we do that, we move through it, the rearrangement way, way faster. But what if you could receive it and let go of that layer where you're making it wrong, where you're making yourself powerlessness, and where you're still believing that life is happening to you? Because that's what this illness has come to transmute for you, or to assist you in transmuting. Natasha says, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present. Thank you. Sarah says, how do I get past the brainwashing of, quote, doing too much causes fatigue and chronic fatigue syndrome relapse? So part of this is like when we want to prove it wrong, like, all right, well, I'm just going to, go out and walk a couple miles and I'll show them. And then we're like, oh, I'm totally depleted. So you can't do it that way, right? Like whenever someone asks me to prove my intuitive abilities, I know better. I'm like, there's no way, because the only thing I could possibly do is like prove them right that I'm not that intuitive. Because if they're not open to experiencing it, what do you want me to do? If they're vested in showing the limitation, anything I could possibly do will just feed what they've already committed to. So it's like if your mind already says, well, fine, I'm going to show them wrong, there's an agenda. So how can I allow myself to experience a possibility beyond what most people believe is possible? So that'd be a better access point for you. How can I access something beyond what my doctors are telling me is true? Then this is exactly what I did when I was told I had severe late onset juvenile rheumatoid autoimmune disease. Was like, what's right about this I'm not getting? And what if that's not true for me? It doesn't mean I'm taking it away from that doctor or proving to the doctor like, no, you're wrong. I know more. The body heals itself. And like, I have to change this thing outside of me. I could let him have his opinion, and I could let billions of people have that reality. But what if this isn't true for me? What if there's something higher that's true for me? And would I be willing to access that? A big thing, and I'll talk about this in the webinar on February 4th. Just make sure if you want to attend, subscribe at drkd.com, and you'll have, we'll make sure we send you the invitation. There is a link on this thread, so you can click that as well. So what was I about to say? So this is what I was going to say. I'll talk about this on the webinar. A lot of us, you don't realize, like a lot of us fear our power. I shouldn't be that powerful. So I shut down my sensuality. I shut down my sexuality, because if I'm that powerful, whoa, things could get really out of hand. We know we have unthinkable power, and that's why we're so afraid. It's because of what we've been taught about it. So what if you let yourself access something beyond what most people around you believe, and let yourself receive something? Oh, Sadia says, I wish you offered the choice to clients to buy individual sessions. I do private sessions. I don't have a lot of people who choose that way because most people work with me in the Embracing Health group. You know, we just go through a year. But drkimd.com/mini integration. And, you know, we can look into working together privately. Susan says, I've been taught not to talk about my difficulties. Well, this is the same thing with focus. If you're going to be in a negative focus of, oh my God, it's not okay, and focus on that pain, or oh my God, it's not okay, and I have this illness. Yes, it will actually create more inflammation in the body. But it's not because focusing on it is bad. It's because focusing fear on it is bad. Focusing your ideas about powerlessness or your beliefs about I'm powerless, life is happening to me, is actually harmful. Yes, it will take you longer to recover from an illness. Yes, it will suppress your immune system and your thyroid and your digestion and just fill in the blank. This is what we've seen scientifically. But what is that access point? What if you can talk about it with in observation, like, wow, I'm witnessing, like, I have so much fear around what's happening to my body physically. So now it's just awareness. She says, it limits my ability to relate to others. I don't want to have to explain why I'm not able to do something. Do you share your reality with others? I've become isolated. Does the support of others matter? Any advice? Yes. And this is kind of why I created the MindBody community the way I did. It's not, you know, it's not a support group for fibromyalgia or a support group for autoimmune disease. Like, you'll feel a very different frequency in that group where it's like, I have this thing. The reality is I am helpless, and so help me manage it. Well, I don't see it that way. I don't see you that way. I know you're not powerless, period, the end. I will never be convinced to the contrary. I won't buy it because I know too much. I've seen too much. I've seen people heal every day. So what's that about? What could be possible? But can I still honor where I am? Wow, this is really hard. Wow, I have no idea what the heck she's talking about. Wow, it really does seem like I'm powerless. Just from pure awareness. Can I honor that and see it? Yeah, where there I am, buying into my victimhood and powerlessness again. Okay, I see it. I don't have to make it wrong. I don't have to judge it. I don't have to fix it, because that's a different game. And it doesn't work. So isolation, yeah. Okay, if you're going to relate to others through your illness, I would resolve something first. Because that's the identity, right? I'm sick and incapable, and therefore you should make amends for me. I'm sick and incapable, and therefore, you know, fill in the blank with kind of how it's been or the conclusions. But what if you were to switch into, like, I have experienced life as being powerless. I have experienced being powerless for 10 years, whatever, 20, 30, 40 years. I've experienced life as if I'm powerless. And now I'm curious to awaken into something higher. Now I wonder what else is possible. So don't make yourself wrong for it. There's nothing wrong with having experienced it that way. And what else is possible? So just that pause, I talked, I think it was last week or the week before, about that pause. Like, just create a pause, because, you know, if your ego is fueled by the running, I'm going to keep going, and your, you know, your higher self, it's all in the same body. Well, if you just pause, you also paused the ego. The only thing we can be outrunning is our ego. The only thing we're trying so hard to heal and get ahead of is what gets created by the beliefs in the ego. So if you pause, it stops all of it. It's a pause to everything. And you can get clarity. Then you could relate from a different space. Like, wow, for so long, I was completely identified with this, with being incapable and powerless. And now I'm just kind of in a pause of wondering what else might be possible. That's enough. You're no longer relating from that identity. Sadia says, oh yeah. Zabi, so fascinating. I get this as a practice, bit by bit, embracing with compassion and love. Yep. Trained to look outside myself. This is quite a shift. Sarah, I'm very new to the group and I'm so glad I joined. Liam, you guys are so sweet. I really love this community, and I love that people are willing to awaken and willing to just because it can be hard to say, like, wait, my illness is not real and take something away from me. And that's not what this is about. It's just an invitation to experience things differently. And there's so many people who've been ready to look. Jenna says, I'm just waking up to the fact that I'm an empath. So I've spent my life being completely shut down, and now I've got health issues. How can I really embrace my true empathic nature and feel safe enough to heal and radically change my life? Well, empathic, so if we're highly sensitive, we can be highly aware. But if we're going to carry judgment, then it just feels like you're getting bombarded by everyone's energy. So if you can look, and I did a Facebook Live MindBody TV broadcast on this in the past. So you can search through the list in the MindBody community. You can be an empowered empath, an awakened empath, and willingly sense energy. Like, the other day I was aware of all this resentment. And I'm like, well, what's this really about? And it was like my husband carrying some of this energy that he's just been unaware of. And so I asked myself, like, what would be the best way to transmute this? Well, going up to him and saying, hey, Anna, you're carrying this energy. I need to take your energy back because it's too uncomfortable for me. Like, no, that was not it. But that's what most people do. It's like, you got to get more conscious because your energy is hurting me. But that's crap. I realized, like, okay, can I create a space of love to let this transmute? Because he's conscious and receptive enough. He doesn't want to carry that. And I didn't even have to have a conversation with him. Like, he is awakening as a result of my awareness and compassion. So you don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be that complex an issue, but you've got to be willing to be in neutrality with what you experience instead of victim where you feel bombarded. Okay. And this, for those of you who do want to come to the retreat, this is a lot of what gets integrated cellularly, electromagnetically, not even with a conversation necessarily. When you come into a higher space of consciousness, like just in the physical space, I'm in my guest house now, and this is where people stay when they come to do a retreat with me. It's tangible, like your body senses it and it just soaks it up and receives it. And you can release all the old residue that kept you from knowing that and accessing that. So it's kind of like a download that you can receive on a really, really deep level. And because it's a consciousness, we don't have to go over each individual topic. And here's how to apply this to relationships. And here's how to apply this with money. No, in that consciousness is that new relationship with money, is that new way of connecting with others. So that's why I've created retreat experiences to work with people, in a physical forum all together, is because I experienced it that way with my mentor. I can't even describe in 3 days how much it just shifted everything, like everything, forever, in such a fundamental level. So that's really when I began doing retreats with groups to bring people deeper into this, because we can talk about it and it's great. And the sessions I do online are so powerful. And so much more gets integrated on even deeper levels when we do this, work together in the same space. Okay. Sorry, where am I? Liam says, I'm starting to realize that hating my pain and symptoms the way I am right now is a low vibrational fear and self-hatred. Yeah, because it's what got created, and then we judge it and make it wrong, and we just want the better. We don't want the what is. Boy, I'm going to speed through some of these. Jay says, do you find that people who are experiencing pain and illness are afraid of health and afraid of change? Yes. But you know how the mind can take that and now it's like, oh no, maybe I'm afraid of health. And now I have like another problem. So you don't need to do that. You can just be aware of, like I said before, like, I wonder if this has gotten so enmeshed in my identity that I haven't been willing to go beyond it. And just let the fear arise. You'll see it. Let me just see. What else we've got? And also for Jenna, who said, I'm waking up to the idea that I'm an empath. So many of us have lived our lives like super empathic, aware and sensitive to energy, feeling these subtle energies, which really are at the core of reality and how things get created. And more people are becoming more sensitive now. More people are becoming aware. So you may have lived your whole life like that, and it might have felt really, really hard. For me, I know it did, like unbelievable. There's a lot of suffering, and I didn't know why. So I just thought like there's something wrong with me, or I'm depressed. But I learned how to let myself have the awareness without being in judgment of it, which is such a massive key. It's like to allowing everything, because I can receive insight of anything that will serve my life, insight, guidance. So to tap into that, you've got to release the fear and the judgment. Tisvi says, like you said, when it's chronic, very often it can just be part of your identity and you get used to it. I've never lived life differently. Sometimes I've progressed and it felt like I was reborn, thinking that everyone sees, but really they don't. Yeah. Heather says, sometimes you say to bring light to the feeling, and other times you say to completely embrace. It's the same thing. There's no difference whatsoever. Embracing it, and just relax, embracing it with love, and bringing the light to that space. It's the same thing. If I embrace it after a bit, it still feels stuck, and I'll bring light to it. Does that sound right? It's the same thing. So what happens for me is if I go to realize like, oh my God, I'm so fired up right now, or I'm so triggered by this thing that so-and-so said, you want to be conscious enough to be like, I should be above this, but you're not. So you have to embrace it. And so what I'll do is I'll just love the one who is triggered and who's still in judgment. And it's like, it's okay for me to be a human and like have judgment that somewhere is in my field that I'm now realizing today. Oh, because that's what's moving out. And how does it move out? It gets my attention. I'm triggered by this thing she said. And then my attention can be, and she shouldn't have said that. And she's so blah, blah, blah. And then feed the judgment. Or say, oh, wow, this is huge for me. I'm really triggered. This is a very intense experience. Wonder what this is about, and let the judgment transmute, which is the process of life. That's what's happening today. That's what's on my plate today, is transmuting this judgment I've held my whole life about blah, 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 so that I can be more free. That's what expansion is. Can I show up to the Kim show and be fascinated and be a yes? Or am I going to keep showing up and holding that judgment that's asking to be released? That holding that same judgment and practicing and repracticing that same judgment, that is, it's up for renewal today. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to renew that. I'm expanding beyond it. I already have expanded beyond it. And so it's like life asking me if I'll let that go and practice something else. So let every moment be, be curious. Let every moment be a lesson, and be curious about what's possible. Jillian says, I felt like I get angry when I have a setback with my health. Yeah, but don't see it as a setback, because nothing can ever be, it can't be anything but a move forward or an invitation forward. So you have this same experience you've experienced before, but will you be in a new relationship with it? What if I'll be like this forever? Yeah. What if this isn't working? What if I'll be like this forever? What if I need to try something new? And how to get out of that frequency is to just witness it and Yes, yes, yes. This is what's coming up. Because in doing that, you're not buying into it and practicing that frequency. Perfect. All right, I hope this has been helpful. How do we stop feeling the judgment, guilt, and blame that's beneath the illness, Liam? And I think I just explained that, like, in my process. I notice it, and it's okay. I'm not trying to eradicate it. I'm not upset with myself that I'm still holding it. I can just see it with appreciation and witness it, these deeper energies. Relax my body and be exactly where I am. Willingly being where I am brings light to that space of darkness. So, all right, lots of love to everyone. We'll go deeper in the webinar on the 4th, so you can register here. The link is here. I don't know if you want to post that again there, Jess. Or if you're subscribed at drkimd.com, we're going to be emailing that out, I think, tomorrow. I wish I had a short link for you to just say what it is, but I didn't think to get that ahead of time. So anyway, lots of love to everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye.